My name is Bharti Dhir and I am from a family of 5 children. My family was one of the families that was expelled from Uganda in 1972. My story is unique in the sense that I was adopted by a Punjabi-Sikh family. I'm actually of dual African Asian heritage. I actually found out I was adopted by sneaking into my dad's study, and I was 8 years of age then, and I went in there. It was completely forbidden to us, but I was an avid reader and I was desperately looking for books to read because my father used to read a lot as well. And then I found a file with my name written on it and it said Bharti Dhir, and I opened up that file and saw an adoption certificate. So I was I just then had to go and look it up in a dictionary. But because I knew I would be in serious trouble, I never told anybody. I only told my sister. I said, I'm adopted. And I had to explain what that was. And she said, don't tell Dad. All she cared about was, don't tell Dad or Mum that you went into that study. So I kept it a secret. And it was at the age of 15, my mum told me the story. So in Uganda, we all mixed together, Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs. There was no division. My mum told me that the goddess Lakshmi had come to her in a dream. And at that time she was pregnant with my sister Anju. And the goddess told her that she was going to be having a little girl. Not the girl she was carrying, but another little girl. And she dreamt that she saw me in Ward 21 in Kabale Hospital, and I was wrapped up in a pink blanket. So round about the time I was found on the roadside in Kabale, near Kabale, and my mum kept saying to my dad, she's arrived. And then he saw it in the local newspaper that there had been an abandoned, what they thought was an Asian baby. And my mum said, that's our baby. So my father initially he said no, and then she said, well, just indulge me, take me to Kabale Hospital. I've seen it so often in my dreams. And when they got to the hospital, while my dad was probably in a very embarrassed fashion, explaining to the receptionist why they were there, my mum was gone because she said she knew exactly where I was. She went down the corridor to Ward 21, saw me in the cot, picked me up and said to my dad, this is the baby. So when we came out of Uganda, there was my brother who was aged around 14, 15. And then there was myself, aged 12. And as my sister Anju always tells me, that she was still 11 at that time. So she was 11. And then we had Mina, who was aged about 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, and we had Shiv, who was about 1, 2 years old. And she was a very young widow. She was widowed at 36, so my mum would have been around about 37, 38 when we left Uganda. But anyway, the first checkpoint we got to, there was a Gujarati family in front of us, and they weren't from Kabale, and I just remember watching in the car. They had a disabled young boy. He must have been 7, 8 years old, no more than that. So the first thing the soldiers did was take his wheelchair off the rooftop and throw it down the hill. And then they ordered the whole family out. And because the child was disabled, it took a bit of time getting him out. And they shot him. They just shot him. And I still remember the soldier saying to the parents, the mum started screaming and he was like, I did good, didn't I, Mama? Just say I did good. And he was like, what good is he where you are going? So now that really struck with me because that's what happened. That's what he said about me. So when it was our turn, we all, they'd seen this money coming out of these cents coming up my brother's trouser pocket and had threatened to shoot him if any more money had come out. And then we were all ordered to disembark from the car as well. And then they turned to my mum and they pointed the gun at her. The same soldier who'd shot the little boy pointed to my mum, pointed to me first, and he said, "Leave her behind." And my mum said, "I can't leave her behind. She's my daughter." And he just basically ordered her. He said, "No, I'm telling you, leave her behind." You know, and then he used that same phrase, "What good is she where you're going?" And I thought, that's it, I'm going to get shot now, or my mum's going to get shot. So but she kept insisting very quietly, "I'm not leaving her, she's my daughter." And then I remember he cocked the trigger and he pointed and he said, "I'm telling you for the last time, the third and last time, leave her behind." And my mum said, "No, I'm not leaving her behind." And then he suddenly put his gun down and he said to my mum, "I salute your courage, you can go." And that was it. So that's what happened. So that was the one time when I really felt it, you know, because he said, she's not one of you, she's one of us. When we came here to Uganda, from Uganda, people in the community, the Indians, used to say to my mum, "Oh, you brought your servant over. How lovely are you for bringing your servant from Uganda." What I remember was really significant was in 1976. That's when the whole story of adoption came out. And I ended up in hospital. And I remember my exams were taken in hospital, my O-levels, and then went on to university. So I did a social sciences degree, and then I did my MA, and I ended up in social work. And I really truly believe that, you know, there is a path laid out for all of us in our lives. Because I think if I hadn't become a social worker, I wouldn't have ended up adopting my daughter. And I did. I ended up adopting. And social work very much led me to my daughter. So here I am. I'm still working in child protection, and I'm a very happy mum, single mum, to my daughter, who I adopted when she was only 6 months old. And I have an incredible family around me. So what more do I want out of life?